What's going on, my financial friends? Yeah, why not? You can have friends when it comes to finance. I need all of us to start have some more fun when it comes to our finances because it seems way too daunting to way too many people. Whether you have way too much or way too little, people are suffering around our money patterns. And this is why I wanted to talk about our limiting beliefs around money. And you might say to me going, limiting beliefs? Yep, those are the stories that we tell ourselves about our money. What do I mean by that? So when we grow up in households and our parents interface with money in a certain way, and then we have the communities we grew up in. So as you start to launch yourself in life, you've got your neighbors, the schools that you went to, and then your extended family members. That starts to lay the foundation and lay the basis for exactly the stories we create in how we're actually interfacing in life financially. Let me give you an example. I remember when I went to the University of Illinois down in Champaign-Urbana, and I am the second oldest of 12 children. And I remember my mom explicitly saying to me, Julie, if you don't take loans out for college, you're not going. Well, I was the second oldest of 12 kids, and I had already packed my bags because I was ready to have my own bedroom, or at least a bedroom with only one other person in it, because I lived in the dorms, right? So the fact that the menu that was given to me, because in my mind, no, I'm going to go to college and I'm not going to create debt, but I'm going to figure out a way on how to make it happen. And then when my mom said to me, Jewel, you can't go to college unless you borrow the money. That is a story which created a limiting belief that got hardwired into my brain that, oh, if you want to keep expanding in life and growing, you actually have to take on debt. And it was interesting to watch myself then. Of course, I went to college, created credit card debt and $44,000 of student loan debt, which in today's dollars is probably not all that much. But for back then, that was a lot of money. And when you look at, then I started a business at 22 years old. What did I do? I borrowed money to be able to start a business, because if you don't come from money, you don't have any money. But that was the story that I had hooked to. That was the belief system. And it wasn't the belief system that I had before I had this conversation with my mom. And I realized this years later when I was like, no. When you have debt in your lives, you have a lack of freedom because it traps you into making different decisions in the present moment than it does in the future. No different than we create other limiting beliefs around our money. For an example, how about the fact that you have to stay at this job and you have to work this job, keep getting pay raises, and then you retire. And we might not stay at the same companies these days, but maybe the same career. Like we all have these stories that, well, this is what I went to college for, or this is what I started my career on, and that's where I have to stay. But here's what happens. When we let these limiting beliefs run our lives and we don't stay open to new opportunities and new adventures, we actually create disease in our bodies. I know that's what? Our money has something to do with our health? Guess what? They're very highly correlated. They really are. Why is that? Well, because of the fact that we either work things out or we act it out, and we do it through our money, through our health, and also our relationships, because it's all about processing our emotions that are buried inside of our body. Interesting, eh? So when we don't choose the next adventure or choose the thing that might seem a little scary and there's a little fear coming up, but boy, does it excite the heck out of you, even if it means changing a career. I helped this one client. She was in her mid-50s, and she said, Jewel, I just can't do this corporate thing anymore. And I said, well, you don't have enough money to retire. And she's like, oh, I just got to give it 7 more years. Have you ever heard of that from somebody? Gosh, I hear that all the time. It's like people feel like they're being kicked in the face. It's done. Let's stop getting kicked in the face. Let's stop dragging ourselves through life going, I'm just going to do a little bit more. Because I helped her see that, you know what? I'm going to leave this up to you. I've run the numbers and I can see that, okay, you just need to have $22,000 a year in income between now and age 65 in a job, your portfolio, the assets that you already built, can spit you out the rest to pay your monthly expenses. So go find a job that you absolutely love that will pay you at least the $22,000 a year. Well, about a year and a half went by, and the drudgery kept getting worse and worse for her. And she came to me one day and she goes, I started walking dogs, Jewel, and I figured out that, wow, if I wanted to become a dog walker, and like this is a woman who went through corporate America, like smart, college educated, but just was done. But she has this passion for dogs. She started integrating that into working at one of the pet adoption agencies here in Chicago. And she actually started then kenneling dogs. And it's actually, what's funny, has turned out to be way more than her $22,000 a year that she needed. But here's the neat part. She's feeding her heart and soul in the process. And she's happier than she's ever been. And she's creating more money because she's happier, because she decided to get rid of those traditional limiting beliefs. That was the story that she created based on generations before her, that she had to just work hard and get to retirement, get there, and then just be happy that it's done. And many of us have been told similar stories because that was the journey of the generations before us, but it's not necessarily has to be the journey for us today. So take a look in your life where maybe some of your stories or maybe some of your limiting beliefs are not serving your heart and soul today, and get busy, start working on the next adventure, because I guarantee you, I don't care what age you are, there's always a new adventure. See you guys soon. Bye.